I almost didn't go. Weddings in our family had a way of turning into small performances. People slipping into roles they'd been rehearsing for years. My stepsister was always the center of those scenes, confident in a way that made everyone else adjust around her. I had learned, over time, to stay on the edges. Still, I went. It felt easier than explaining why I wouldn't. The dinner was held in a long, softly lit hall, everything arranged to look effortless. Round tables, quiet music, the kind of setting where conversations stayed light even when they weren't. I kept my interactions brief, smiled when spoken to, answered questions without adding much. It wasn't discomfort exactly, more like familiarity with how these evenings usually unfolded. At some point, my stepsister called me over. She had a glass in her hand, mid-conversation with a small group that included her new in-laws. Her posture shifted slightly when she saw me, like she was about to deliver something. "This is my stepsister," she said, smiling. Then she laughed, just enough to invite others to join in. Just a useless nurse. The word useless didn't hit like an insult. It landed like something practiced. A few people laughed lightly, unsure. Someone glanced at me, then away. It was the kind of moment designed to pass quickly, to be absorbed without disruption. I nodded once, not agreeing, not correcting. "Hi," I said. For a second, it seemed like that would be it. The conversation would move on, and the comment would settle into the background like so many others had before. Then the man standing across from me, the groom's father, tilted his head slightly. He wasn't smiling. "Wait," he said, looking at me more closely. "You're the one who—" He didn't finish the sentence right away. The room didn't freeze all at once. It shifted in pieces. The laughter faded first. Then the small side conversations quieted as attention narrowed. I felt it before I understood it. He took a step closer, still studying my face like he was matching it to something stored carefully in memory. "You were at City General," he said, "last winter." It wasn't a question. I nodded. "Yes." Another pause, this one heavier. "My wife," he said. "You were on her case." I didn't look at anyone else, just him. I was part of the team. He exhaled slowly, like something had just aligned. "No," he said, more firmly now. "You stayed." That word carried more weight than anything my stepsister had said. A few people shifted in their seats. Someone set a glass down too carefully. My stepsister's smile didn't disappear, but it changed, tightened at the edges. I kept my voice even. It was a long night. He let out a short breath that wasn't quite a laugh. "You didn't leave her," he said. "Even when the shift changed." "Even when?" He stopped himself, pressing his lips together briefly. "She remembers you." There was no dramatic reaction from the room, no applause, no sudden apologies. Just a quiet recalibration. People looked at me differently. Not warmly, not overwhelmingly, but with a kind of reconsideration. Like something had been misfiled and was now being corrected. My stepsister let out a small laugh, trying to fold the moment back into something lighter. "Oh, well," she said, "she's always been dedicated." The sentence trailed in a way that didn't quite land. No one picked it up. The groom's father didn't respond to her. His attention stayed with me. "Thank you," he said simply. I nodded once. "I'm glad she's doing well." "That's because of people like you," he replied. I didn't answer that. There wasn't anything to add that wouldn't shift the moment into something else. Something performative, something I didn't want. The conversation around us resumed, slowly, like a room finding its balance again. But the tone had changed. Not dramatically. Just enough. I stayed for another hour. No one brought up the earlier comment again. No one apologized. My stepsister avoided direct conversation with me, though I caught her watching me once or twice, like she was trying to understand something that had moved out of her control. When I finally left, I didn't say much. A few polite goodbyes. A nod to the people nearest the door. Outside, the air felt cooler than I expected. I stood there for a moment before walking to my car, letting the quiet settle. It wasn't a victory. Nothing had been undone. The years of small dismissals, the way I'd been introduced, the assumptions, those didn't disappear because of one moment. But something had shifted, not loudly, not in a way that demanded acknowledgement, just enough that the version of me they were used to presenting didn't quite fit anymore, and for the first time, I didn't feel the need to correct it. I got in the car, closed the door, and sat there for a second before starting the engine. The evening would go on without me. That felt right.